Hey everyone, it's Adam Mitchell here with Treasure Trading, and we are back with another video. Today is September 29th, 2022, and I'm ending the day up $50.52. Man, today was a really interesting day. I started the day off by hitting my daily max loss in one trade, which, that was a really big mistake that I made. It was on MOTS. I lost $71 on that stock. So it was like $10 over my max loss per day. I recognize that I made this mistake and I was like, hey, let's keep trading. Like, let's see if we can take any good trades, because that was just one trade. And, I felt myself able to get back on course pretty easily, which is good, because in the past, what I would do in a situation like that is I would probably just snowball. But I was like, no, let's just see if I can just cut that in half, maybe cut that loss in half. And then I just kept working my way up, and I just kept taking trades, and I was able to do a $120 swing all the way up to being up 50. So, that's cool. It would be nice to make that kind of gain in one day without having to take a big loss like I did on MOTS. But, we'll see how things go. If, I'm happy with how I traded today. It was cool to see that I was able to do that, to go from as much as I was down and then taking the same amount of share size and same amount of risk per trade, and to work my way up to being up 50. I mean, I thought it was really cool. So yeah, let's get into today's trades. So I traded, 5 stocks this morning: ABOS, ATXI, BBAI, MOTS, and SNTI. All right, let's look at what my first trade was. All right, so my first trade was on BBAI. I got in with 200 shares at 165 as we're getting this dip off of this squeeze up. And I'm thinking that we're going to get this dip and then a nice push back to the upside. So we start to get a squeeze up, and I go ahead and sell it as it's coming up into these highs, and I locked up $9. So yeah, that was my first trade. And then my next trade was on MOTS. So let's see that trade. Okay, so here we go. MOTS. So I got in with 200 shares at 431. So I think what I did was I first bought this dip into this line right here. I mean, just looking at this, this is one of those dip trades that I probably should have waited for it to show me some type of support first. I need to get better at that, at recognizing those types of stocks that just keep on dipping, like just able to prevent myself from getting in a trade like I did on this stock here. Because we can see at this point I'm down $20, right? And this is where I should have cut my loss, was when I was down $20, because that's my max loss per trade. But I was just being stubborn, and I really didn't want to sell it, because I was expecting a rip back up. So let's see what happens. This is the 5-minute now. So on the 5-minute, we're coming into all of this support, the 9 moving average and the lower band of VWAP. So I was really expecting this thing to bounce up off these levels. But, so right here, we're starting to get a bit of a bounce. This is the 1-minute chart. We're starting to get a bit of a bounce here. And I'm thinking, all right, hopefully we can get a squeeze up to 450. Like, that's what I wanted to see, was a squeeze up to these levels up here at about 450. And I could have made, 30 to 40 bucks maybe, was what I was thinking. So let's see what happens here. I'll press play on this so we can see how it happened here. So it's holding up, and I'm just thinking the whole time, like, dang, I'm not in a good spot. Like I'm holding past my max loss. And I'm like, this is not good. I should just be cutting it. Like I should have sold this already. But I'm just dead set on the fact that we're going to see a nice pop to the upside. You know, now I'm only down $10, $8, you know. So we're still not getting that squeeze. And then boom, it really starts to crack down. And now I'm down $40. I'm down $40 now. Now I'm down twice my max loss per trade. And, you know, it came down into the $4 mark, and I was, you know, just down like $60, you know. I mean, geez, man, this is not good. You know, but this is a classic situation that I find myself in from time to time. And it's not good. I want to completely eliminate this from my trading. But what I'm really happy with is that I didn't let this really throw me off. I was like, all right, whatever, you know, like once I sold it. So I just added another 100 shares there. And now I'm in with 300 shares. My average is 420. And I'm about to sell this thing because I'm just like, man, this thing's just coming down. And I really just needed to sell it. So I lost $71 on that trade. So at this point, I was down $62 on the day, which is my max loss, right? Like $60 is my absolute max loss per day. But, you know, in a situation like this was one trade. It was one mistake that I made where I didn't cut my loss. And I was like, you know what? If I continue to trade badly, then I'll walk away. Like if I just don't take any, like if my next trade is a loser or whatever, then it's like, all right, we really need to be done. But I was like, you know what? I want to at least try to cut my losses in half. So let's see if we can get some good trades. Let's see what happened. Okay, so right here, SNTI. I'm getting in with 200 shares at 178. So I noticed that we had this level of support here at 176, and now we're popping up. And, you know, I guess I'm waiting for it to come up into 185 maybe or something like that. Yep. So it just comes down, and I just go ahead and sell it. I lost $4 on it. So I'm like, all right, okay, it's not exactly what I wanted to see, but, you know, let's see if we can find something good. Man, so looking back at SNTI, I mean, it did rip up. And so I missed this profit here. So, dang it. Okay, so this is my next trade right here. I'm going to press play. This is on BBAI. It's a stock that I made $9 on. I bought this dip into this level here that I have mapped out. I bought 300 shares. And now I'm looking for this thing to squeeze up. Okay, so now I did just add into it, but here, I'm going to press pause real quick. So I'm in with 600 shares at 167. Now, you know, I was going to cut this trade if it fell below this level. Like that was what I was thinking. We had this very obvious level of support here now. And if we break below it, you know, that would produce my $20 loss. So that's what I was thinking is we came down into this level. I took my initial position of 300 shares, which I would have cut below this level here at about 162. So that would have been like a $15 loss maybe. So now it's curling up, and I'm like really convinced that we're going to get that squeeze up. So I added another 300 shares for the break of these candles here. And now I'm going to be stopping out below this support level, which, you know, maybe I would have lost $25 if it went against me and I did sell it at that level. But, you know, maybe I am being a little bit aggressive because of my loss on MOTS. But the way that I'm looking at it, I was being logical with where I was planning to get out and how much I was sizing for that. But anyways, we're in with 600 shares. at 167. I'm up $17 on this thing right now. Let's see what happens. Press and play again. So now we're getting a nice squeeze, and I'm selling it now. And we were coming up into this resistance here, and I just went ahead and sold it. And now I'm up $38. So I made like 30 bucks on that trade. So that effectively cut my loss almost in half just on that one trade. Yeah, so at this point I'm down, I think, like $35 at this point. So yeah, I was like, all right, this is great. Let's see if we can take another good trade. Let's see what else we got going on. So yeah, we can see that this squeezed all the way up into this level at 176. I mean, this was such a perfect tap of this level here, which is, I think, this pre-market level right here. So, I mean, the high of day level is a place that you could have taken profit, and then you could have, maybe held out just some of it for the bigger squeeze up. But I sold it, I think, at 172. It squeezed up to 176. But, I mean, yeah, that was a good trade there. We got the nice dip and a nice push up. All right, what's the next trade? All right, next trade was on BBAI. All right, so here we go. We're taking another trade on this thing. So we got this breakdown off the highs, and now we've come down into support again. And I'm like, all right, we've got this level of support here, and we've got the low of day support. I'm going to buy this. So I bought it, 200 shares, 165. Let's see what happens. So right here, we got a nice push up, and I sold it, and now I'm up 50 on the stock. So I think at this point, I'm now down like 25 bucks on the day. So I've just made back $50 or something of my losses, like 40 to 50 bucks worth of my losses back. So I'm like, man, dude, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm digging myself out of the hole. I don't know how much higher this thing went here. It may have squeezed up again up into these levels. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it squeezed up a little bit more there, and fast forwarding just a little bit more again. I mean, it came all the way up into 175. I think I sold it at 169 maybe. So, I think I do need to get better at holding these things just a little bit longer. Like holding some of it just a little bit longer. So, all right, let's see what happens next. What's my next trade? All right, so my next trade was on SNTI. We got this big sell-off down into VWAP, and I'm about to press buy. So right there, I just got in with 200 shares at 180, and now I'm looking for this thing to bounce up again. But I think I just go ahead and sell it. And yeah, I sold it for break even. I think I did leave some money on the table with that trade, but let's see what happens. Yeah, so fast forwarding, I mean, now we're up to 185. I mean, this was a good place to get in. I don't know why I sold it. I'd be up another $10, I think, on that trade if I was still holding it. All right, let's see what happens. Here we go, squeezing up more. Now we're up at 187. So my next trade was on BBAI. So we came down into this level at 165. I'm getting in with 300 shares again. I'm in at 166, 167. And we're looking for this thing to do what it did back here, get a nice little bounce off that level again. So let's see what it does. So we're getting a nice bounce off that level. We're up at 171. I'm up about $12 now on the trade. And I'm looking for this thing to come up just a little bit higher to 175 maybe. But I go ahead and sell it, and now I'm up 60. So I made another $10 on that trade. So yeah, I mean, I'm stacking it up. I'm not sure what I'm down or up at this point, but I'm stacking it up, and that's pretty good. So, all right, what's my next trade? Yeah, so while I was looking at this, and trading this, this is what happened on SNTI, right? So I had gotten in on this thing down here at 180, and this thing curled all the way up to 193. I mean, dang, dude. And I just sold it. I just went ahead and sold it. It's like, man, I got to be making money on these moves. Like, if I'm getting into something, I need to either be set on, just selling it if it breaks below a support level, selling it if it's at my max loss, or holding it for profit into a profit target price, but not just selling it just to sell it, just because I want to get out of it, and not deal with, I guess, the uncertainty of not knowing what's going to happen. I think that might be why I sell early, but I don't know. All right, let's see what my next trade was. But yeah, I mean, I missed this really big move on SNTI. I mean, this was crazy. Yeah, I'll just press play on this because I was thinking about getting in on that stock. Right, so we got this nice dip down here, and now we're ripping up. I just switched over to BBAI. I don't know why, because the actual action is happening on the other stock right now. All right, let's go back to the other stock. All right, SNTI. Man, this thing's ripping up. And, that's profit that I missed. That's a trade that I missed. And I'm just like, all right, just give me a nice pullback. Just give me a nice pullback into support. I'm checking the daily chart, seeing how high it could possibly go. I've got that level mapped out at like 215 or something, which I'm not even sure why I put this level in here, but I did, and it came up into that level. And I was like trying to look back, like, why did I put this at 215? I don't remember why, but, we can see that this thing just ripped up like crazy. All right, let's fast forward. See what my next trade was. So, yeah, I don't even know why, but I wound up taking a trade up here. I mean, I think that's a mistake that I made, was taking a trade up here. Like, I decided to get in at the highs. I mean, this was a mistake right here because I took a trade. Let's see, it was popping up. Yeah, so right here, I'm getting in with 200 shares at 204. I think the reason that I did was because it had broken above $2 a share, came up into 206, dropped down to $2, and it was holding. And so I figured, all right, this thing's holding. I'm going to get in, near $2, and hopefully we'll get that squeeze up to 215. So that's what I was thinking. That's why I took this trade. But, this is a higher risk trade for sure, which I'm not crazy about that, right? Because if I'm getting in with 200 shares at 203, this thing, it would have to pull back to 193 for me to get out. But at that point, it's like that's where I would maybe be taking a trade, was at 193. So, that's how this can get a little bit tricky sometimes. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I just went ahead and sold that super fast because I realized that it was such a stupid trade. So let's see here. Let's see what it does. Okay, so right there, I got in with 200 shares at $2 a share. So we got this dip off of the 9 moving average, and now I'm looking for this thing to make that squeeze back up. So what does it do? It just drops off right there, but it's still holding up. All right, I'm in with 400 shares now at $2. Maybe I did oversize just a little bit this morning. I think I did, because right here, I think I'm definitely oversized. If I'm in with 400 shares at $2, basically $1.99, I mean, I would have to be getting out at, I don't know, 195 or something, 194, which would be like right here. And that would be a $20 loss. And so, yep, I'm definitely oversized in this trade right now. But let's see what happens. So it kind of squeezed up a little bit, and I went ahead and sold it. I made $10 on it. All right, what's my next trade? All right, so I had taken this trade off screen and I brought it over on screen just so I could have it, just so I could have the footage for it. So it's a trade on BBAI. I'm getting in down here at these lower levels. I've got this, the pre-market low, I think, and then we also have the 200 moving average. And I'm thinking, all right, maybe it'll make a nice curl up off these levels. Let's see. I think I just go ahead and sell it. All right, so I'm still holding it, right? And we can see that we have this very obvious level of support now. So I'm thinking, all right, we have support. That's good. Now all we got to do is make the curl up. I was hoping for a move up to like 165 maybe. So I'm in with 300 shares at 155, and I'm looking for this thing to curl back up to 165. So we can see that it's still holding up. Let's see what happens. So yeah, I went ahead and sold it, I guess, right there. I just went ahead and sold it. I don't even know why, but I went ahead and sold it right there. Let's see what happens. All right, so here's my next trade on ATXI. So I was getting in for this break right here over VWAP, and we have a bit of an ABCD setup too. But the problem with this one was that it didn't really have a whole lot of volume, but I figured that it was a recent runner and it's got some volume, and there's a bit of a setup that's showing, maybe this will do something. So I got in with 100 shares at 707, and we're getting a nice little pop up. And let's see, I have an order set to sell at about 745, but it doesn't quite make it up there for me. But we do get this squeeze right in here, and I go ahead and sell it. And I locked up $20 on that trade. So, that was good, I got a nice little trade on it, and there we go. All right, what's my next trade? Okay, so my next trade is on BBAI. So I was trading it back here, and we weren't really getting the break, so I sold it, with the intention of getting back in if it did break. So, but it didn't break, and instead it broke down. And then now we're coming back up, and we're coming into the 20 moving average. And I thought, hey, I'm going to take a 20 moving average trade here. If this thing breaks over the 20, I'm going to hold this thing for a squeeze up and see what happens. So right there, we got the break. And I'm buying 300 shares at 158. And now I've got my sell order out here at 164. Because I'm thinking that we'll probably come up into that resistance. But the place that I sold it was actually more in line with this level of resistance here. So let's see what happens. So right there, we're getting a bit of a squeeze. And I just go ahead and sell it. And I'm up 63 on this now. So I didn't really make a whole lot on it. But let's see what my next trade was. All right, here's my next trade. It's on SNTI. So SNTI, was the stock that, it's been going up all morning basically. And, right here, it dipped down into VWAP and got bought up. And now it's got this level of resistance at 203. And it broke it right here. And I was considering buying that, but I chose not to. And we got this squeeze up to 209. And I'm looking for this thing to make a pullback into these levels again and then bounce up. And I think that's exactly what it did. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and press play here. All right, so it's about to pull back, and I'm keeping my eye on it, and I'm going to get in if it pulls back to this 203 level again, right? So there we go. So it's pulling back, and this is the new level of support, right? But it came down into, I think, 201. But we had all this support here, and I was like, all right, this is perfect. So there we go. I just sold it into that squeeze. I sold it a little bit early, I definitely left some money on the table with it. Let's see where exactly I sold it. So we're getting the curl up. I bought it at 202, and I'm selling it at, I guess, 210. I sold it at 210, and now we're up at 213. You know, I'm not sure how high this went exactly, but you know, that was a good move right there. You know, that was a good trade. It worked out really nicely, and now I'm up 30 on that stock too. So, you know, I've just been taking good trades, and they've been working. You know, except for that one stupid trade on MOTS. Man, that was so dumb. So my next trade was on BBAI. So I see this thing squeezing up right here, and I'm like, oh man, this thing's looking like it's going to squeeze up into this level finally, the 164, 166 level. So it broke out of this consolidation right here at about 156 and squeezed up to 161. And I'm just keeping my eye on it, and I'm going to press play right now. So it's backing off of that level, and right there, as it comes back down into this level, I press buy because I'm looking for it to do this, to squeeze back up again. And now I'm holding it and waiting for it to come up into these levels, but I think I just go ahead and sell it. Let's see. So we're making a little bit of a pullback here now. It's not really doing anything quite yet. Let's see here. Yeah, so we're having a really hard time squeezing up, and I just go ahead and sell it. I just went ahead and sold it, and let's see what it winds up doing. So it starts to inch its way up, and, you know, there we go. It makes it up into that level. And off of that level, I think it winds up backing off pretty hard. And, you know, this is where I kind of gave back some profit off the top. I bought 600 shares. I don't even know why I bought 600 shares there, but yeah. See, this is bad. This is bad. You know, this thing pulled back right here, and I got in with 600 shares at 160, and we're at 156, and I'm down 24 bucks right now. Stupid trade at the end here. But luckily it pops up enough for me to sell it, and I go from being up 70 to being up. So right there was where I pressed sell because I saw that I was pretty much break even at this point. It popped back up to my entry, but of course this was the better entry down here at the 200 moving average and at, you know, 165 and, you know, 155. So yeah, you know, that was a very dumb trade. So that was actually another dumb thing that I did this morning, was this trade here. So yeah, man, I need to not do dumb stuff. But I was able to do enough smart stuff today that I ended the day decently green. I didn't land within my profit target, which is a trend for me, which I'm going to break that. I'm going to consistently land in my profit target. That's what's going to happen. So yeah, you know, those are the trades. Ending the day up 50 bucks, which is nice. And yeah, so if you guys like these recaps, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and leave a like. And I'll see you in the next video. All right, guys.